Welcome to Big Mike's Real Reviews. I'm Big Mike, and the day is finally here. The finale of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 6. Man, we have been waiting a long time for this episode. Ever since, it started after WandaVision and all the, things everyone was trying to say, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And I feel like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we didn't get as much speculation. We still got quite a bit, but not as much as WandaVision, because I believe it taught us a lesson. But now we are finally here, the final episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And this is going to be my review / breakdown video. And yes, there will be some spoilers after my review, because I'm going to break down the episode and, talk about things that are to come. So with that being said, let's get right to it. I really enjoyed this episode. I love how it started out. I mean, I really don't think this is too much of a spoiler because it was all online. Everyone pretty much figured it out when Bucky gave Sam the Wakandan case and Sam opens it at the end and it cuts to black. We pretty much, all knew that it was Sam's Captain America uniform. Like, I even said it in my review last week of episode 5 that it was most likely his Wakandan tech, Captain America uniform. And that's basically what it was. Started out with this huge fight scene. It was really cool, to see all of that. It was a lot to this episode, even though it was only like 51 minutes, I believe. Last week's episode was 61 minutes, so it was a little less than that. I felt like it could have been more because everything seemed not rushed, but it was kind of like it was really fast paced. This episode was probably the most fast paced, I would say, of all the episodes. That being said, I really did enjoy it. I will give this episode a 9, as I did pretty much every other episode, because I did really enjoy the Falcon and Winter Soldier, even as a whole. I really like what they were doing to build up into, or tell the story of Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes post-blip. So I really did enjoy this episode. And now I'm going to drop that spoiler warning because I'm going to get into more spoilery things to talk about this episode. And so if you have not seen that episode yet, avert your eyes, or if you don't care about spoilers, stick with me and I'm going to break this episode down. So, like I said before, it started out with Sam Wilson flying around as Captain America in New York. We know from last week's episode that the Flag Smashers had attacked the GRC. And so now it's time to get to work. As Sam and Bucky say, let's go to work. So Sam's flying around in his brand new spiffy Wakandan tech Captain America costume, and it looks great. It looks great. So I mean, the one thing I will, it's very small gripe, is that we didn't really see all that the suit can do. I was assuming that since it was made in Wakanda, since it's vibranium, that it might have the tech where it could absorb kinetic energy and release it back, like the Black Panther's costume. We didn't see that yet, but with everything else, I mean, he had even a couple of red wings that we saw in the episode that helps him out a lot. It's amazing. I really like it, and it's really close to what it is in the comics. I mean, it is really close to what it is in the comics as well. So it's very comic accurate, as the MCU usually does anyway. They like to protect the source material pretty well, even though they change things up because they don't want everyone to know what's coming. So I really did enjoy those fight scenes. Of course, Bucky helped Sam out fighting the Flag Smashers in this episode. And one of the things that I don't want to say odd, but the fact that we got John Walker kind of working with Bucky and Sam, against the Flag Smashers. I mean, we knew that was his, goal anyway, but it didn't seem like he was, fighting against them or even had like a chip on his shoulder. He was just kind of like, he was that way as well. Let's go to work. You see him coming in with his homemade shield that didn't do much damage at all. As soon as he threw it at Carly, as we saw even in the trailer, like she just kicked it away and it just like hits the ground. And the look on his face was just kind of like, oh, like, yeah, this isn't my vibranium shield. And pretty much by the end of the fight, because he's fighting, multiple super soldiers at this point. And by the end of the fight, his homemade, Captain America shield was pretty much done. And so, I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was odd or not, but like I did kind of enjoy that they did get an assist from John Walker in all of this, chaos, because that's what it was. It was pure chaos. And we still get Sam trying to like talk Carly down, even though they're fighting. Like she even when she was hitting him, she's like, fight me back, fight back. He was still trying to talk her down at that point. And everything about the episode, like I said, it moved really fast. Even the fight between Sam and Batroc, that went pretty fast. Bucky and John Walker fighting the Flag Smashers, and we finally did get confirmation of Sharon Carter being the power broker. Now, Sharon Carter being the power broker, of course, everybody speculated. That was a big speculation, but some of the things that were said over the course of the show, even Zemo said he knew of the power broker even before, and he mentioned him as a he. So since there was multiple power brokers in the comics, I'm going to assume that Sharon Carter wasn't the first power broker, but she kind of took over that role. But the thing is, at this point, is that Sam and Bucky don't know it. Like, Batroc knew it. Carly and the Flag Smashers, well, Carly knew it. I don't know if the rest of the Flag Smashers knew it at that point, but they knew it as well. And in the episode, Sharon silences Carly, before she could even tell anyone who, that Sharon Carter was the power broker, by shooting her and killing her. And so her secret was safe. And she also killed Batroc the Leaper as well. So Sam and Bucky still don't know that Sharon is the power broker, which in the post-credit scene is going to, lead into the rest of the MCU at this point, because it's like, okay, Sam said he was going to deliver on his promise to give her a pardon. And as we saw in the last episode, she got a pardon, and they even offered her a job, a government job, probably a, top level security clearance as well, because as she leaves and she's thanking everybody, for that and everything, they said, oh, we made this huge mistake and apologize. And, you have this full pardon, and hey, take this great job, like you had before. And so then she gets on her phone and she's like, hey, now we got all this access. So she's going to be kind of like this sleeper agent, right? So as well, at the end of the episode, what we saw, Julia Louis-Dreyfus character back, and she gives him his new costume. And he's like, hey, it's the same, but it's black. So it's funny. He got his classic comic book U.S. agent costume, and was even named U.S. agent, because with her Val's character, when she came to John Walker and she was like, yeah, when they're not going to need a Captain America, they're going to need a U.S. agent. So he seemed pretty happy about that. So I don't know if he really knows, or we don't even really know at this point, what Val's true intentions are. If she's actually like, because like in the comics, she was, double, triple, SHIELD agent, Russian agent, also was Madam Hydra. Like, you can pick and choose at this point, like, who really is Val. So that's kind of like what we're going moving forward. Is like, is John Walker going to be a good guy, bad guy, in between guy? He doesn't even know who he's working for type of guy, because we don't even know who Val's working for, or does she even answer to anyone? So, there's still a lot of speculation going on too about what's going to come after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And the final scene was cool. Sam goes back home. Bucky joins him. You can see that they've actually built this friendship at this point. You can see it. They're very friendly. He comes, celebrating with Sam and his family and the whole community down there. And he brings a cake, and the kids love him, and, all this kind of stuff. So it's really cool to see Bucky even interacting and actually having friends, because in the beginning of the season, he, that's what his therapist was saying. Hey, you don't have any friends. You don't talk to anybody. What are you doing? Or he had the one friend, his friend Yuri, whose son he tragically killed as the Winter Soldier while he was under mind control. And in this episode, we did finally get him confessing. It was very hard for him to do, as we saw. And when Yuri asked him why, Bucky said because he had no choice. Yes, because he was being mind controlled. I mean, that still, I would assume, doesn't make the blow any easier. And of course, it probably hurts a lot more too, because, he befriended him. So I'm still hoping maybe there's hope for that. I mean, maybe after a healing period. I mean, he knows the Winter Soldier isn't in this universe, a person that people in that universe don't know anything about. I mean, at this point, they know, everything about the Winter Soldier. So it's pretty safe to assume they would know that he was, being mind controlled, because now he's out walking about and he's got a full pardon. So if he doesn't have any consequences and he can just, walk the streets like he wants, he's a free man. So they would have to know, there has to be something behind that, like I said, being the mind control. So all in all, like I said, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I'm really excited to see what comes next. And I love how they ended it. Instead of at the before the credits roll, how they usually show the title being the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they changed it, of course, to Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So that was really great. And one of the best parts, too, around the end, of course, because, Sam really felt bad for what happened to Isaiah Bradley. And he was trying to get his story out there. And Isaiah Bradley didn't want his story out there. So Sam did the next best thing. So after, they stopped the Flag Smashers and everything, and he goes to Isaiah Bradley. And, he goes back to his house, and him and his grandson are there. And he said, that he's working out in the yard, and Sam tells Isaiah, hey, clean yourself up. I want to show you something. So, it's not that long of a ride from Baltimore to DC. So they drive on down to DC, takes him to the Smithsonian, and in the Captain America exhibit, we see that Sam put up a statue, or had a statue put up, of Isaiah Bradley and had his story put there. And he looks at Isaiah Bradley, he says, now no one will forget your story. And I just think that, I mean, in this entire episode, even the speech that Sam gave, that was on the news, was broadcast on the news, we see now why Sam is the perfect choice at this point to take over the role as Captain America. Because as we know, like I said, he was a counselor for, vets when they came home and everything like that. And Sam really has a knack for helping people, and he really deeply cares. And that's why, another reason why he took on the role as Captain America as well, finally, because he wants to embrace that, and he wants to bring as much help and change as he possibly can. And I think that was a really good message and a really good transition point, for that character at this point. And also, we can't forget about Zemo. They show Zemo in the raft, and he still has his hands in the pot. This boy Zemo right here, the puppet master pulling the strings. And, from we see his elderly butler was actually the one who planted the bomb on the paddy wagon of the 4 Flag Smashers who were supposed to be taken to the raft, and it just boom blows up, and they were killed. And we see his elderly butler just sitting in the car with the remote, and then we cut to Zemo in his cell at the raft. And he's listening on the radio as this happens. So Zemo still has his plans in motion of no super soldiers, even though he did say that he wasn't going to kill Bucky or wasn't after Bucky. So I guess he's like, Bucky gets a pass, and wherever Steve Rogers is at this point, he gets a pass. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Zemo also knows about Isaiah Bradley, but he's just keeping his head down anyway, so he's not really a threat. So Zemo still, has his hands in the pot, still stirring stuff. So I really, really, really cannot wait to see what happens moving forward with the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, and, or White Wolf, because I really don't think he's going to be referred to that much longer as the Winter Soldier. I really think they're going to integrate something, as he's going to take this White Wolf moniker and just run with that. So let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video. Please hit that bell for notifications for all my latest content. And once again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.